Could you help first by giving your definition of what is a development organization in general and how that relates to your organization?
Excellent. We are a management consultancy for the poor. In that sense, we are a little bit different from other development organizations. Most organizations give money to help lift people out of poverty. We don't give money, we give advice. Sometimes we're referred to as the McKinsey for the poor. We only give advice to governments, to private sector organizations and to civil society organizations with a view to strengthening their ability to have an impact on poverty. That is essentially what we do, and we have a distribution infrastructure of offices around the world, some 100 offices in 33 countries on 4 continents, where we employ our advisors. They are employed by SNV, and there's about 950 advisors currently working out of those offices with those clients. Some 3,000 clients worldwide. Question, I mean, what we do, funnily enough, we have a really strange business model. We give advice for free. And essentially what the Dutch government does, the Dutch government allows us to do that. So essentially they finance our turnover so that we are capable of working with clients that cannot afford commercial rates. I mean, it's the USAIDs of this world, and there's many organizations like this. They do projects and they fund projects. We have concluded like 5-6 years ago, there's plenty of organizations that do that, but what doesn't happen enough is work at what we call the capacity gap. I mean, you can give people money or organizations money, but if they don't have the capacity amongst their staff to actually do something with that money, to strategize, to operationalize strategies, to actually go on the road to impact, then the money is not going to be well spent. And that actually made us decide 5-6 years ago to exclusively focus on advice with a view to strengthening the capacity of those organizations. For me, capacity, and it's a much discussed term, people think it's very confusing. For me, capacity is the ability to perform. I mean, the funny thing about our organization, we're pretty big. We have €100 million annual turnover at this moment of time, but somehow in Holland and beyond, we were somehow the best kept secret of development cooperation. And we have decided to come out. And I came on board 5 years ago. I joined from the private sector. I worked for a Dutch investment bank. And one of my key missions is, come on guys, we got to go out. We got to tell our story. And part of that is partner with those organizations in the various sectors where we work so that jointly we can reach a lot more than each of us does individually. So when tourism emerged as one of our leading areas, one of 5 leading areas actually, we said, well, let's go out there and let's see who is out there in the tourism community. And that's how we ran into WTO, that's how we ran into the STEP Foundation. Sustainability, if there's not going to be sustainability, it's just not going to happen. If this problem was about money, it would have been resolved a long time ago, I think. And therefore you got to combine money with people that are capacitated to actually do something with that money. And I think actually the balance could shift a little bit more to indeed making sure that people do have the capacity to lift themselves out of poverty. Because you and I are not going to lift them out of poverty. They're not a sorry group of people that just need charity and handouts. I mean, they're people that have energy, that have drive, that have capacity, and it's a matter of boosting that capacity, of finding what is there in terms of capacity, then bringing in money and make sure that the two come together, and then you get on the road to sustainability, actually. Money corrupts, right? Money can help, and money makes the world go round, let's face it, but money can also corrupt, and money can also make people become complacent. And a lot of that has been happening. So what is needed is not say, well, we're not going to put money in anymore. No, that would be kind of throw away the child with the bathwater. What is needed is that poverty interventions are targeted much better. And people in the development sector need to also have the guts to recognize at one moment of time, hey guys, this isn't working here. We got to move out. We got to say no. I mean, what you see now in SNV is that I expect that by the end of next year, 50% of our total turnover will be focused on private sector activity. When I came in, I think it wasn't even 10%. Now, does that mean that you have result? That's going to be your next question. No, that doesn't guarantee result, but at least I see across the organization, I see the mind shifting. Well, I think for SNV, what I would like is that on the one hand, we indeed increase our work with the private sector. On the other hand, I think we also have to spend a lot of time and attention to basic services issues like water and sanitation, like education.